Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
Peter Obi, the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, has taken a position which completely conflicts with what the former Minister of Finance and currently the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Okonjo Iweala, said when he met with the president some few hours ago. Don't forget that she came into the president to pay the courtesy visit to the president to discuss what is currently happening, and it has to do with the launch of the Women Exporters Fund for Digital Economy. And one of the things that got the interest of Nigeria wasn't even all of that. It was when she commented on the state of Nigeria's economy. She acknowledged that the administration's initial reforms had delivered much needed stability, and she went further. Let me quote her what she says: "We think that the president and his team have worked hard to stabilize the economy, and you cannot really improve an economy unless it's stable. So he has to be given the credit for the stability of the economy. So the reforms have been in the right direction." That was what she said. But then Peter Obi, who is a trader, former I'll call him financial expert also, because he had been as a director in many banks. He had taken a position which leaves Nigerians with so much question. If the economy is stable, why is Peter Obi taking this position, which clearly is at variance with what Dr. Okonjo Iweala, who also we know her as a very intelligent woman in financial issue, as it has to do with her position. Now, Peter Obi said that the FDI to Nigeria declined amidst unending global gallivanting and uncoordinated reforms. What is FDI? FDI is actually a foreign direct investment. And this was the position that Peter Obi took. He said, while the president, minister, and other government officials continue their global gallivanting in search of foreign direct investment, our poor performances in key governance indicators such as rule of law, regulatory quality, government effectiveness, and voice and accountability continues to prove that you cannot attract sustainable foreign investment with poor leadership and governance. According to a recent report by the National Bureau of Statistics, the foreign direct investment to Nigeria sharply declined by about 70% in the first quarter of 2025, falling to only $126.29 million from $441.8 million in the last quarter of 2024. Of the total capital importation of about $5.64 billion in the first quarter of 2025, the foreign direct investment accounted for only about 2.24% compared to 8.2% in quarter 4 of 2024. Disturbingly, about 90% of the imported capital went into speculative money market investment. With such a high proportion of capital importation flowing into speculative investment, the impact of the industrial growth or job creation is highly insignificant and elusive, given the ease with which such hot monies can exit the economy. Let me reiterate, sustainable economic growth and development cannot be achieved through poor leadership and weak governance, problems that are clearly reflected in declining foreign direct investment and our poor performance in key governance indicators. To further illustrate our precarious situation, capital flows to the manufacturing sector declined exponentially by 32.1%, dropping to only $129.92 million in quarter 1 2025 from $191.92 million in the same quarter of 2023. That's a drop from $129 million to 191. That's a drop from $191 million to $129 million in 2023. There is no better confirmation of the lack of trust in this government, whose reform remain uncoordinated and largely reactive. In 2024, while global foreign direct investment flows decline, Foreign direct investment to Africa significantly increased to $97 billion, a rise of about 75% compared to 2023. Europe, the United States, and China were the main sources of these FDIs. Egypt attracted the highest share in Africa with $46.58 billion. Other top recipients, including Ethiopia, they got $3.98 billion. Cote d'Ivoire had $3.80 billion. Mozambique had $3.55 billion. Uganda had $3.30 billion. Democratic Republic of Congo had $3.1 billion. South Africa had $2.47 billion. Namibia had $2.06 billion. Senegal had $2.02 billion. Guinea had $1.83 billion. And Morocco had $1.64 billion. Most disappointingly, our dear nation, Nigeria, the so-called giant of Africa, received only $1.08 billion, about 1% of Africa's total FDIs, representing a decline of about 42% from 2023. Worse still, after this 42% drop between 2023 and 2024, the foreign direct investment to Nigeria has further declined by 75% between Q4 2024 and Q1 2025. We cannot achieve sustainable growth and development with ineffective leadership and a weak government. A new Nigeria is possible. Coming from PO. This is getting very interesting. Now, all of these that Peter B is saying, interestingly, is not coming from his mind, as most people have always been saying. This is coming from Bureau of Statistics, and they have all this data in place. So what he does, he goes to Bureau of Statistics and start analyzing what they have brought out to present. Now, and right now, for those who do not really understand what Peter B is talking about, he's talking about foreign direct investment. A huge amount of investment was brought in, and interestingly, this investment came from 75% of such investment came from Europe, the United States, and China. They were the main sources of this foreign investment, and the one that attracted most of it was actually Egypt. Egypt was the one that got a chunk of it. The big question is, does it mean that Nigeria, we do not have the ready market, or apart from, ready market to accommodate any kind of investment that should come into the country? Don't forget, number one, when we're talking about foreign direct investment, one of the things that they are looking out for is the people. Do they have human power, that will patronize our product and all of that? That should have been one of the most important things. But because of instability in key performance indices in the country, like number one, he made mention, the rule of law. The second, insecurity in Nigeria, which is published globally. Now, fairly recently, we have heard what Donald Trump said about Nigeria, the fact that Christians have been taken out every now and then, and even we that are living in the country, we can testify of the fact that there had been issues of insecurity in the country. The government have been working seriously to control it, but we do not really know what's going on. And as much as that part of it is not being dealt with, there is nobody that want to pump in his money into an insecure environment. And apart from being insecure environment, also in the case of the rule of law, there's a lot of question mark around our judiciary that has made a lot of people to, be scared of investing their money here. So imagine such a huge amount of money walking into Africa, and Egypt was able to capture as much as 45.58% of it. Egypt alone, 97 billion naira came in. Egypt alone had 46.58. Nigeria was only able to capture approximately 1% of that money that came in. It's quite disturbing, I must say. It's something that we really, really need to look into it. That's about approximately. Why I say approximately? Because 1% of 97 billion is about 0.97. So approximately 1%. So that Nigeria got 1.08 billion, dollars. And I mean, it kind of conflict with the stability Dr. Okonjo Iweala was talking about. I don't know why she said that, because interestingly, she did not point out why she said the economy is stable. She didn't point it out. She just said the economy is stable and that they just need to, bring out some social whatever net. That's what can handle issues of issues that relates to the populace crying out and all of that. Those devices need to be put in place to cushion the effect of whatever reforms that are being pushed into the public glare. But interestingly, some of the things that Peter Obi has pointed out, I would tell you, they are key drivers of economic stability in any nation. But unfortunately, we are lacking it. I think that the duty of Peter Obi castigating current administration points in one direction, that they need to look more into what Bureau of Statistics have to present so that we know the level of pressure to push into Ministry of Finance. Apart from Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should do something, to drive in more investors into Nigeria. But that will depend on what the media is publishing. The media cannot publish a lie. The media must always publish the truth. And as much as the media is publishing, a lot of these countries, they have the ambassadors across board. So they are looking at what is going on in different countries. That's why they're taking that position. Well, for me, it's something that is worth talking about. What's the position, being that Peter Obi is talking with provable evidence why Nigeria is declining?